It's an interesting story, and I tell this in the same way. We were looking at the business as a whole, and I had sat down with a number of retailers and a number of the fans, and you felt everybody was getting lethargic. It felt like people were buying books because they were keeping the numbering going or because they just did in the past. And that's not a good enough reason to do comics. That's not a good enough reason to put out product. And when you hear things like that, you realize that someday that people can just find something else to do, and then we have no fan base to build from. So we felt we still had a very strong fan base, but we had to do something that would shake up the business. And we decided to do the relaunch. And when we thought about it, we sort of went half in. And then we realized that we have to go all the way in. It wasn't just about relaunching certain books, it was about relaunching the entire line, because we knew something like that would be enough of a shock to the system. And I used to describe it, if people say, well, how'd you let things get so out of control? What made you think it's so out of control? And I used the expression once, he's got to forgive me, I said, it's like waking up one morning and finding out you're 30 pounds overweight. And you wake up and you look at yourself and you go, I'm overweight, I know I didn't eat 30 pounds of food last night, but somehow I don't feel right. And we had to be better. We had to be better as a company. We had to be better. We had to be better in regards to how we did our jobs. We had to make sure the schedules came out on time. There was a lot of people didn't know when books were going to come out, so they lost their enthusiasm for finding it. And we had to make sure the books were interesting, exciting, entry, and we wanted the people to read it. And we sat down with our writers, and we sat down with our editors, and we sat down with our artists, and said that what we've been doing isn't good enough. We have to be better. So.
What were your personal picks out of the relaunch?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's for me. It's hard for me to pick anything out separately. I mean, considering I was working on one of the books, I had a lot of fun doing that myself. But I mean, when we saw what was happening, when we saw what was happening on the Batman book with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, we knew something special was going on. You felt the energy level start to explode. When you have Jim Lee and Jeff Johns committed to doing Justice League on a monthly basis, you knew something was going to take hold there. And that's why when we went at it, we knew Batman and Green Lantern were working very well, so we didn't want to make too much change, not to upset that apple cart. But other areas we knew we should take some risks. And big surprises for us, no surprise, is things like Animal Man and Swamp Thing.
Animal Man was superb, yeah.
And these are books that we have tried to relaunch several times, and this is the first time they really took hold in a great way. And things like Teen Titans, which had the most baggage. And Teen Titans is an interesting book because Teen Titans, when we started to do it, we were trying to find a way to make everything work. And then we realized that we were spending so much trouble trying to make the old stories work, we were sacrificing the new direction. It was going to impact how the works from there. And I see Wonder Girl over here. She's giving me, sorry about that, I really apologize.